Alright guys, we're on page 89 of your student journal. 3.4, graphing f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. This is also known as vertex form. Before we get into it, or before we find out why it's called vertex form, let's just get into it. So the first question says, work with a partner, sketch the graphs in the same coordinate plane. How does the value of h affect the graph of y equals a times x minus h squared? So h is the number inside the parentheses. And we're going to wonder, what does it do to the graph? So you guys can go ahead and pop open your graphing calculator or Desmos. And these are our two graphs. This is x squared, original. So up 1 over 1 to 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. Where is it? 3, 9. Yeah, right about there. 3 squared is 9. And, obviously the same. So if we go back, you would sketch it 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, and then the same on the other side. And then x minus 2 squared. So we have the second graph, which is actually exactly the same, except it moved 2 units to the, which way did it move? It moved 2 units to the right. How does the value of h? So in this one, you could say in this graph, h moved the graph 2 units to the right. And you would have drawn it in here. Let's do the next one. So you have 2x squared, which what will that number do? It will make it, let's see, it will make it, as a reminder, skinnier or narrower or vertical stretch. So you have 2x squared, and you can go ahead and copy that, and then 2 times x minus 2 squared. So if we look at this, we start at 0, 0, we go to 1, 2, so that means up 2 over 1. Let's see if that's any different here. Up 2 over 1, which is the same. So you have the same kind of graph, but it moved positions. In which direction did it move? It moved 2 to the right. So in this one, it also moved. This h moves this graph 2 units to the right. So now we should be thinking, oh, okay, like a minus 2 will move the graph to the right. In this next one, we see negative x squared and negative x plus 2. So the last one was minus 2, made it move to the right. So what do you guys think? We have a minus, this minus sign. Then we have a plus sign, plus 2. So let's see. We have negative x squared, which will be facing what direction? Down. And then we have a negative x plus 2 squared. So let's think. If I distribute the negative, it will be, well, that would be after, because we were supposed to square first. So take a moment, think about, which way it might move, which way it's facing, left or right, up and down, and let's see. So we have a plus 2 moving it 2 to the left. How does the value of h affect the graph? Well, plus 2 made the graph move 2 units to the left. And again, you would sketch both of them over here. And lastly, negative 2x squared and negative 2 times x plus 2. So we have negative 2x squared, which would make it skinnier or narrower. And then we have the x plus 2, which makes it a translation. So again, here as well, the graph moves 2 units to the left. And that's all to clarify because of the number in the parentheses. This number just controls whether it goes up and down, or whether it's narrow and wide, or vertical stretch and vertical shrink. So, how can you describe the graph? Well, A controls whether the graph opens up or down, and whether it is, and the width. It's another way of saying whether it's narrow or skinny or vertical stretch or vertical shrink. H controls whether the graph moves left or right. And when it moved left, it was minus H, or right, plus H, or right, minus H. So without graphing, describe the graph. So if we have a minus, I know you guys think, oh, like, on our graph, these are the negative numbers to the left, right? -1, -2, -3. So when you see that, you might think, oh, well, then the graph would move to the left 3 times. Well, let's see. So this is the original graph, and this is our modified graph, and it does not move to the left despite this -3. The -3 actually moves it to the right by 3 units. The graph moves to the right by 3 units. Here, the graph moves to the where? Left by 3 units. And lastly, we have this number in front right here, this -1. So the -1, what does that do? As a reminder, I will show you right here. What does a negative do? Oh, it makes it face down. So the graph will face down and move or translate how many units and in which direction? Which one of these is it similar to? It's this one. And move 3 units to the right. Let's see. Negative. Oops. -3 square. There it is, 3 units to the right. Okie doke. So that's the lesson. We're gonna skip this because I will make another video for this. I'm breaking this lesson up into chunks. So we're gonna skip 1 through 4 as well. But here it says find the vertex and axis of symmetry. So we are gonna do 5 and 6. So what happens? What does -2 mean? Moves 2 to the right. And so let's see. If it moves to, so if my original graph is just x squared, x squared, and I move 2 to the right, that means this way and this way. This is my new vertex. My new vertex would be 2, 0. Vertex 2, 0. And let's see. 2, 0. And the vertex, or the axis of symmetry, is where it gets cut in half, where it makes it symmetric. And that line is right here down the middle, or when x is equal to 2. So you'd say axis, that was weird. Axis of symmetry, x equals 2. Notice I did not just write 2, it's a whole line. An axis is a whole line, right? So you got to do that. Okay, so that's 5, 6, 7, and 8 for you. You got to be careful because now this one will move to the right. And this is K, which is what we did last week. And if we're already moving along the horizontal axis, then this, or x-axis, this will move us along the y-axis. So don't forget. Lastly here, compare, that means you got to use your words. So I will compare, but I will not graph. I will let you graph. Compare the graph. So because of the 3, that makes it narrower or have vertical stretch. So the graph has vertical stretch, and because of the +2, it means and translates to the right by 2 units. So you just use the graphing calculator to graph this. This one will, so make sure you talk about what the -1/4 does, what the -6 does, and what the +4 does. Okay, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys understand a little bit about looking at something now and saying, okay, like it moves this many units left and right, in this case left, it moves this many units up, and because the number in front is A, that controls whether it opens up or down, and whether and width, whether it's narrow, skinny, or the same. Let me know if you have any questions.